Hi, my name is Thomas Conti. Here is my list of artifacts I have created for my online career portfolio. The first artifact I want to take a look at is my resume. The main reason I spent time creating this artifact was just because I'm going to pretty soon start my application process and getting jobs after I graduate from college. It was obviously key for me to have and something I want to keep revising as I go. The process I took to create this was through my classes here at Tiffin University. Um, Obviously, we did through the DEC classes a couple times. I've created a resume, I've got it revised, resubmitted it, and it has really helped out with the process. This artifact supports my claims of growth just because it's all about me and what I've done and the hard work I've put in through schooling, through work, through internships. It has really shown all my different progresses through my time here at Tiffin, my time in high school, and even before then. I would say my main strength and weaknesses of it are, my strength. I feel like I do have a lot of information on there that is very valuable. I'm gonna graduate with 2 different degrees, um, and I believe that my main weaknesses are just that I want to add a couple more things before I start my job search. I think that would really help. The reason this artifact will be useful in my future is because I'm going to use it for job interviews. I'm going to use it to apply for jobs. It's honestly one of the most important things to have as someone who's looking to get into the job market. And I believe that I need to do everything I can to make sure it is near perfect. I don't think there's anything I would do differently to recreate the artifact. I believe that, the resume grows as I grow, and that is something that I'm going to continue to add to. I do believe that there are some revisions I need to make and continue to improve it, but other than that, I think it's pretty up to date and something I'm really excited to get my application process started for jobs. The next artifact I have on my list is my CQ assessment. Now, what the CQ assessment does is measure my capability for working and relating across different cultures. The reason I did this was to measure my capability and be able to work with different cultures. The process I followed was taking a test, analyzing my results, and writing a reflection after. What I learned was how much knowledge I have across different cultures and how I can relate to these people. It showed me that I really grew over time because the first time I took this assessment was in 2020, and I have now taken it again in the fall of 2022. The strengths that I like to look at are the 4 categories that they provide. When you take the test, they provide 4 different categories from the assessment. And after I took it, I improved in many of those categories, and I was really happy. Especially over the period of time from 2020 to 2022, it really showed me what I learned overall at Tiffin University and allowed me to grasp a better understanding about different cultures. This artifact will allow me to keep testing my knowledge in the future, and it would be a stepping stone on what I have learned. I plan to probably take the test again in a couple of years and see how much I have learned and see how much my knowledge has improved on the capability of working and relating across different cultures. I think this is extremely important and it's something I could use within um, my working skills. And I think having it as an artifact is something that is really important because it shows my different knowledge and the ability I have to work with different people. I don't think I would change anything, and the main reason is because this is an assessment on knowledge. And yes, I think I can, definitely get more knowledge over the next 2 years, but overall, I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and I hope for improvement the next time I take it. The next artifact I'll be looking at is my learning philosophy statement essay that I wrote in my leadership class. The reason I created this artifact was mainly to summarize my overall learning within my leadership class. Before I started class, I really didn't have too many ideas of leadership and how it worked, and after the class, I feel like I have a lot more knowledge. The way I created this artifact was by writing an essay and pretty much summarizing my knowledge from the semester, what skills I did very well with, what I learned throughout the semester, and writing my philosophy statement, which I was really happy about. I grew from it in many ways and also learned from the progress of taking the class as well. Um, I would say throughout this whole semester, I have a very good grasp on leadership and what type of leader I am. And I think that's just really important for me to understand, especially when going into the application process for getting a job. I learned how to be a leader and what I have to do, what skills I have to improve. I would have say I have so many strengths and weaknesses. I think my philosophy statement was one of my strengths. I think it turned out really well, and I'm extremely happy with it. I would say some of my weaknesses are just the overall improvements I need to make within being a leader. And the main reason I put this on here is being a better public speaker or a vocal leader overall. I think I can use this in the future to kind of show where I was um, at this time in my knowledge of leadership and kind of, what my main takeaways were. I had a lot of huge takeaways. I think this class was a big difference maker and it really helped me. I don't think there's anything I would do differently. This class was huge. My learning philosophy statement essay was is going to be a big part and a huge artifact for me to look at down the road. The next artifact I will look at is my wellness seminar. The reason I created this artifact was to learn all about and do research on the systems of the body. This included the skeletal, endocrine, and nervous systems. The reason I created it was as a project to show my knowledge and prove I had an understanding of the different systems we learned throughout the year. For me, going in health, wellness, and fitness, I felt like it was a really good understanding and good knowledge of the different systems because they're extremely important to the body. They are everything, and for me, going into that type of field, I really want to have knowledge about that. And I think this wellness seminar proves a lot of that knowledge, and is something I plan on going back and looking at in the future. I can also grow from it, and there were many different things I learned. I mean, like I said, this is one of the major artifacts I'm taking from my time at Tiffin as just an example of what I learned, but also something I can go back and look at. Learn all about the different systems of the body, which hopefully in my job, when I get something within the health, wellness, and fitness field, I'll be able to use. I don't think I had any weaknesses of it. Maybe the one weakness was um, including all of the systems of the body. We're only required to do three at the time, but maybe doing all just so I have knowledge on all of them. I would say the strengths are just the information. I have a lot of good information that I'm really proud of, that I learn and still have knowledge of. I think the main way I would use it in my future is just by going back and using it as an example and something that I could show different people that I have done. It is something, like I said, I'm really proud of, and I believe is going to help me a lot. I don't think I would do anything differently, and maybe the only thing is, like I mentioned, my weakness, adding all the systems, but that is something I could still do, and something, like I said, I feel like this is really strong, and it's an artifact I'm proud of. The next artifact was the Microsoft Excel class I took at Tiffin in digital literacy and technology readiness. The reason I had this artifact was because learning Microsoft Excel is something that I'm going to have to use within my career, and I feel like being able to learn that in within college was something that is really going to help me in my future. And so that's why I want to include that as an artifact. And that's the reason I created this as an artifact, was because it is going to help me a lot just having that as part of my resume, to show companies that I'm already prepared and I don't need any additional training. There are many ways that I can grow from it and what I learned in the process. I learned pretty much the whole Microsoft Excel program. Um, there wasn't many steps that were left out at all. Um, it's something I'm really comfortable with, and something I feel like even though it was about a year and a half ago, I could go in right now and um, perform at a high level. I would say there weren't there. I mean, there were some weaknesses. There were some things I struggled with, but I got it all figured out. I talked to the teacher a lot and was able to figure out how to kind of perfect this artifact, and I'm really proud of it. I have a lot of projects that I have done to show as an example, and it's something I really hope to use in my future as well. Just within business, or since I'm going to exercise, programs I use all the time to track progress of people, whether it be fitness, health, nutrition, anything. And I don't think there's anything I would do differently, other than maybe continuing to refresh my skills on it, so I don't forget any of them. The next artifact I have is a sports medicine internship I did within the physical therapy field. I did this in 2017. I did not attend Tiffin University at the time, but it was an artifact that is a huge part of my resume and something I'm really proud of. The reason I created this artifact was because I want to get an experience within the field of health wellness. Even though I didn't go down the physical therapy route, it was still really good experience. I got some good tips from the therapist there, and it was extremely helpful. The reason I created this artifact was because I feel like it's one of the most important things I have done um, to get experience for my career. I want to do some more internships down the road, but I feel like having this one on here right now is really important. The reason I grew from it was it allowed me to step my foot in the door at a really young age. I just started off in college, and it was my first year, and I was able to get an idea of what it's like being in the health industry in the health field. Um, I the main strengths I would say were just the overall learning experience. Um, I took away a lot from that experience, and it helped me. It helped guide me what I want to do, what field I want to be in, and like I said, it was the first experience I had that eventually led me to this degree that I'm in right now. I would say there are really not any weaknesses, but it is something that is going to be useful in the future. It's going to look good on my resumes. It is just having that knowledge of physical therapy. It's something, even though it was 5 years ago, I have not forgotten to this day, and it's something I hope to continue to build upon. Um, and I don't think I would do anything differently other than um, maybe revisit something like it and see if I could get another place and do another internship. The next artifact I did was getting CPR, first aid, and AED certification. I did this as part of my health, wellness, and fitness program here at Tiffin University. The thing I did to create this artifact was go and do an online program for the American Red Cross. Took some tests and quizzes, finished that, and then went in person to American Red Cross and did hands-on activities and tested out and was able to get my certification. I think I can grow from it just having the knowledge of helping people in an emergency type situation. I could be working in places where people have um, different health issues, and anything can happen at any time, and it's good to have the knowledge of being able to help them. I wouldn't say there were any weaknesses for me. Overall, I've gotten CPR, first aid, and AED certified before. I have very good knowledge of it. And I would actually say that's one of my strengths is I've gotten certified a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and I just having a, you know, having that knowledge now twice is something that's going to be useful for me. How I would use this in the future, just within my jobs, and most jobs that I'm going to have to go to are going to have that as a requirement. So it's something I'm going to have to do every 2 years. And if anybody's ever in an emergency situation, I can help them out in any way if they need CPR, first aid, or the AED at all. Um, There's not much I would do differently. I got this about 2.5 years ago, so re-getting my certification this year, um, as part of my program was perfect timing, and now I can go on and hopefully use it as part of my application process for getting the job. The next artifact I want to look in is my LinkedIn creation. This I was able to do at a class here at Tiffin University, and the reason I created this artifact was because as a part of the DEC classes, we had to create a LinkedIn profile and help us prepare for looking for jobs, something where we could put our resume and help us with the application process. The thing I did to create this product, to create the artifact, was go on LinkedIn and create a profile, along with adding many facts about myself, the schools, the different jobs I've had, along with adding my resume. Um, I would say the reason the learning process was mainly just looking, I think, at LinkedIn and seeing the number of jobs that are out there and the opportunities I had. And honestly, learning about myself and, you know, just that was kind of my first taste of what the, job application process and the hiring process was going to look like. So I'm really glad that happened at an early time because it allowed me to start thinking about it more. There weren't. I think there were weaknesses at first with my LinkedIn account, but since I first created it, I've corrected all those weaknesses, and now I look at them more as strengths. I have a pretty good account on there, and it's something I'm really proud of. And I think I can use in the future to possibly get a job. I'm on there quite often looking at jobs and seeing what's out there, and it could be the title I use to apply and possibly get a job in the future. And there's I don't think there's anything I would do differently. Maybe starting it earlier than I did. But it was good to have that guidance at Tiffin to allow me to create it under supervision and make any changes I need to make. The last artifact I have is my online career portfolio. This is something I'm going to create that's going to show many different steps along the way that I've had. The reason I created this was to help me um, within getting a job potentially and showing the different skills, my different attributes that I have. It's not necessarily a resume, but it more shows who I am and kind of the skills I have gotten over the years. Um, the way I created this artifact was just by doing different things like my resume, going through the artifacts, creating different sections of myself, creating a full introduction for myself, doing many different things to make myself look good for any potential suitors that are um, within the job, looking for a job, and that whole process. I think I learned from it by, I think, mainly just analyzing my different skills that I have. Since it is different from a resume, that was something that I'd never really done before. So I was able to look at different skills that I had and assess them and put them down. And just like I'm doing now at my artifacts, these were things that I had to gather, and I'm really happy I did so because it shows how much I have done overall here at Tiffin University. I wouldn't say there's many weaknesses at all, but I think it's pretty strong. It's the online career portfolio is something that's gonna only help me, and I think it's pretty strong and something I'm continuing to work on every day. And I don't think there's anything that I would do differently with it, but I do plan to use this in my future and to hopefully help me with the job process. And I think it's really going to help me and put a good look out there for me.